Everybody keeps asking me what to buy. I'm sick of seeing, Remarb, what's a good item? I've got 2K Robux, help me. You know what? Fine, I'll tell you what to buy. I'll make a whole video on it. And to make it extra simple for you, I'm going to be splitting it off into two parts. This first section, which is the one you're on right now, I'm going to be teaching you how to determine if an item is worth buying or not. In the second section, I'm just going to be giving specific examples so you don't have to learn anything. You can just go steal my examples and go buy those and start with those. I've got stuff anywhere from 500 to 10K over in that half of the video, so you can just go ahead and go watch that if you want, or you can stick around here and learn how to pick out an item yourself. I have carefully crafted the perfect system to determine if an item is worth buying or not, and I'm going to share that system with you right now. It is the FART system. Let's start with F. Function. Can you use it? Can anyone use it? This is obviously talking about the item itself. Let's look at some examples. 8PRC, or 8-Bit Royal Crown, that item is physically attractive. People enjoy this item. It is valued. It has cool particles, would be easy to get an overpay on. That is a great starting item if you can afford it. Now, pretty much everything you can just take a first glance at and know it's a good item. Let's look at some bad examples. Cobalt Lightning Pauldrons. That is an ugly item. You don't want that. Blizzard Beast Mode. That one's actually pretty good. It looks alright. I could see myself making an outfit with it if I really wanted to, or at least I could see someone making an outfit with it. So just because you wouldn't wear it, you need to be able to put yourself in the shoes of someone who would wear it. Look at the Lol How, for example. I wouldn't say that item has good demand, but I would say there is someone out there who could definitely find a use for it. I am one of those people. Even obscure items still have use and value to some people. But then there are other items that do not have this use, such as the Brontosaurus Shades. What would you possibly use these for? They will not look good in any outfit. It's just an ugly item. Look at the dinosaur. It doesn't look like a dinosaur from a distance. It looks like some weird spaghetti noodle on your face. You would never ever use this. Same thing goes for the Cobalt Lightning Pauldrons. Now other stuff, it's easy to see how you could use them. Shaggy is a hair. People wear it all the time. Blue Pocket Pal, you slap that on a regular noob outfit and it actually looks kind of cute. The Sword Pack, I've seen absolute nerds wearing that before and it's an old classic item. That should be enough for you to understand the F. Can you use it? Can anyone use it? Can you see anyone using this? If the answer is no, then it is not a good purchase. If the answer is yes, you may move on to the next step. A. Active value. Is it valued? Does it have any history of overpay? This one might be a little harder to determine. If it's valued, it's an instant pass. Legit, Silverthorn, HP bar, all those valued. Now, for more obscure things like the Blizzard Beast Mode bandana I just talked about, that you would have to do a bit of research on. I can pretty much just take one look at it and know that it does get overpay. If you find the right person, like the type of person that really likes the Beast Mode faces and he just really wants it, maybe he's already wearing some blue, you could certainly get an overpay for that. Okay, look, I actually found an example of this. This dude, this poor guy, overpaid like 800 on Blizzard Beast Mode bandana. I mean, it was a while ago. This is 2024, but if it happened back then, it can happen now. So there's your history of overpay. Even just one is enough to pass this step, I would say. You can take one good look at the item and know immediately if it has active value, right? Like you can see someone using it, then it probably has active value. Because if someone can use it, then someone can overpay for it. Now the R part of this system stands for regular sales. How often does it sell? If it never sells, you probably won't get it for a good price, but if it sells all the time, all you have to do is be patient. Let's look at the sales for HP bar. Just simply go to the Rolling Months page and look at average daily sales. 30 every day is very good. You look at something like the Cobalt Lightning Pauldrons, once again, 0.23 daily sales. If it sells that often, how often do you think someone is going to be putting it under wrap so that you can get it for a decent value? Like, if it doesn't sell very often, that means the price probably isn't changing that much. This is less about the item and more about the practicality of actually getting it at a price that you could pay. So this is more like something to consider rather than it needs to sell every day. So let's move on to the last step now. T. Threat level. Is the item safe? If it's new, the value could die and never recover. If it has a ton of owners, they are more likely to panic sell. Look at Shaggy. It has 27,000, almost 28,000 premium copies. That is crazy. It's crazy. APRC is up there too. 22,000 copies. Now, I will say, there is definitely a risk level with dealing with items that have this many copies. But the demand is good, but that just means it's a lot more volatile. If for whatever reason a handful of people start getting impatient and start selling it at 15K instead of 18K, it's going down. The item is going to be going down, and that might happen before your 7-day hold is up, because once you buy something, you got to wait those 7 days. And if people are going to be selling it at crazy prices just because there's so many people that there's bound to be a bunch of stupid ones out there, then that's at least something worth considering. You have to think about this, the likelihood that you could actually get it at a good price, and then when you find it at a good price, you have to consider if this is an item that's going to reasonably sustain its value. And you have to accept the fact that there's always that chance that maybe it won't. I have some safe recommendations for you for most of the beginning price points. Let's start off with the 500 items. These are items you can buy for 500 Robux right about. These are all some of the best smalls you can buy. Yeah, just look at them. They all look cool. I've used all of these. Back X guitar and chill cap, those are both, you know what, all these are old. These are all just great items. If you started with these, you could get a few hundred overpay with some eggs and then turn around and get these same items back because they have so many owners. Obviously, I would recommend, if you have more Robux, I would recommend going for valued items. Maybe the cheapest one you can would be fine. Okay, so all of these are the 1K items. They're all fine. I would say Black Iron Branches is probably the best one here. I've consistently gotten overpays on that. Shaggy would probably be the hardest one to get at 1K because it fluctuates so much. It even gets close to 2K sometimes. But any of these would be solid options if you're trying to spend 1K. Alright, now for the 2K items, there's actually a lot of different options here. Now, some of them might be a little harder to get than others. Like you'll see the Festive Bucket is at 2,600, but there are sales occasionally that are around the 2,000 range. And that is an item you would definitely be able to get a nice overpay on too. So if you can get it cheap and you can get a big overpay on it after, I wouldn't be surprised if you could get 1K overpay on Festive Bucket. But all of these items are great options. Just try to get them for a decent price. Look at the sales logs and then, just wait for the price to go down. Or if you're lazy, just buy it at an average price and then work hard on trying to get that overpay on them. Now, here are the 3K items, and this is where you could start getting some valued stuff. Occasionally, the valued items will sell around 3K, like Big Head and Traffic Cone, because they have just so many owners. People get impatient, undercut each other, and I wouldn't be surprised if you could even get Big Head or Traffic Cone for 2.5K, okay? Platinum Eye is another excellent choice. I have pulled 1,000 on it, I think a couple of times. And it was from people that were like actively trading too. Just kind of bizarre to me, but some people just want those cool items. And all of these are perfectly good choices if you're trying to buy something with 3K. All right, here's the 4K items. Now, these are all great choices. I would definitely recommend the valued stuff, but Blue Plaid and the Bombastic Sword Pack are good options as well. I have never owned Bombastic Sword Pack, but I assume you could get an overpay on it. Here's some 5K items. I will say these are not as ideal as the previous ones. I would probably go for like a Traffic Cone, Big Head, Legit, whatever. Any of those previous valued items instead of these. But Golden Clockworks is a great option. Everything else here is kind of mid. Pink Shades are cool. Honestly, I don't even know if that's that good of an item. I mean, I like it and I've used it a lot, but I'm also kind of a weird guy, so maybe avoid that one. Friendly Fedora is pretty ugly. I honestly don't know why it's valued, but maybe you could probably get some overpay on that. And the Sinister P I have gotten overpay on several times, and I've actually overpaid on it too. That item is pretty cool. Here's your 6K choices, and now we're getting back into the juicy ones. These are great. I've gotten 2K overpays on HP Bar and Silverthorn Antlers, and I've gotten 1K on Space Hair and Riddling Skull. All four of these are very easy to get overpays on. At least in my experience, they've been very easy. These snipes are going to take a bit of patience, except for HP Bar. That one's probably going to be easy. That thing's constantly going up and down. Some days it's at like 7,800, and then a couple of minutes later it's down to like 5,000. That thing fluctuates so hard, it is crazy. You could easily get that at 6K, and it's valued at 8K right now. 8K. You gain 2,000 value just by buying it at 6K. That, I think, is the best opportunity in this video that I've called out by name. I think HP Bar is the #1 thing that I would go with out of everything on this list. Here's the 7K items. I will say it's a little obvious that the pickings were slim for the 7K category. You know, if you want to spend exactly 7K, here's your choices. I mean, you could probably get an overpay on these items. I don't think I've ever gotten an overpay on these. I don't know if I've owned these items. I know I've owned... Okay, well, I've gotten an overpay on Emerald Eye. I had a friend who got an overpay on the Bombastic Scary Hood, and it does look pretty cool, I guess. For the same reason the Bombastic Sword Pack looks cool. People just like bombastic items. And then, obviously, Blue Top Hat is a valued item. Here's the 8K items. Rubber Ducky, I don't know if you'd be able to get that for 8K, but if you could, that would be pretty nice. Rubber Ducky's been higher in the past. All right, here's the 9K items. These are, you know, you could probably get these at 9K. I mean, definitely Hematite Eye. And I've actually gotten, I think, 2K overpay on Hematite Eye before. That's a good item right there. It's on my wish list. I need to get it back. I had a cool outfit for it and everything. These other items, Snow Queen Smile sells under a lot, just like HP Bar, but not as often as HP Bar. I've never met someone that has wanted like Snow Queen Smile or Zara. It takes a very specific type of person to want those. But these are the 9K options I would recommend. Alright, and here are the 10K items. Now, there's not too much to say here about these. I would say GBTH is probably the best, but the Winks have both been a lot higher. I think Purple's been at like 20K before, and Blue has been at 16K pretty recently, or maybe even 18. Those both might be a bit challenging to get at 10K exactly, but if it were me, I would probably just go for GBTH. That one, I think you could get 2K easy on that. Very easy to use in outfits, so it is probably the easiest one to find someone willing to overpay for. Now, obviously, the values might be different for you now, depending on when you're watching this video, but these are items that are going to be good regardless. You know, these are always going to be getting overpays. I would say my #1 pick would be HP Bar, if you can afford it, and if you need something cheaper, I would go with probably Big Head. Big Head is one of the easiest things to get overpays on. It gives you some good experience. And if you had a little more, maybe go for Legit or Black Iron Commando. Those are both excellent options as well. And if you're trying to start with like nothing, I would probably go with I'd probably put Broken TV #1. I had a friend that had like 300,000, and he would wear the Broken TV with like a suit. It looked pretty cool. If you're not in my Discord server already, I would recommend joining it if you like my videos, because we have a bot called Jorge El Rogador, and he is a begging bot. You send your begs to him saying you want more videos or whatever, and then he will give you a hilarious reply, and you will get 1 point closer to the goal. And once we hit the goal, I will upload the next video, which is actually why I made this video. I asked people what video they wanted, and they said this one. So I made it and then uploaded it shortly after they hit the goal. Good job in hitting the goal, guys. I couldn't be more proud of you.